Every day, without fail, the old veteran would look out his cabin window at the same time. The sun would be setting, casting a warm glow over the horizon, and there in the distance he would see it, a stray dog, standing silently. The dog wasn't aggressive or noisy. It was calm, almost as if it had made this its routine too. The veteran often wondered why the dog always chose that specific spot, staring at his cabin with those deep, soulful eyes. It wasn't like any other stray. There was something different about it. The veteran, once a soldier, had lived a life filled with battles, loss, and long silences. His cabin, deep in the woods, was his refuge. He didn't expect visitors, nor did he want any. But somehow, the dog's presence felt like a kind of company, a quiet, unspoken bond between two souls who understood loneliness. The veteran had seen many things in his time, but nothing had quite puzzled him like this stray dog. Why did it come here every day? What was it looking for? The dog never approached the cabin. It just stood there, watching, waiting, as if it too had a story it was trying to tell. And the veteran? He never went outside to check on it. He didn't need to. There was something about the simplicity of their routine that felt important, like an understanding passed between them without the need for words. But one day, something unexpected happened. The dog didn't appear. The veteran, who had grown accustomed to the daily routine, felt a strange emptiness. Had something happened to the dog? Or was it simply tired of staring at the cabin? Whatever the reason, that one missing day changed everything. The veteran spent the next few days in a haze of confusion. He kept waking up early, going about his daily chores, and then, as if by instinct, he would head to the window. He didn't consciously think about it, but every time he did, he hoped to see the dog standing there in its usual spot. But it wasn't there. The silence felt louder than ever before. The missing dog was now a constant thought in his mind. What could have happened to it? The dog had never been part of the veteran's life in a tangible way, but in the back of his mind, it had always been a silent companion. He'd never asked himself why it was there, or even thought about what it might need. It was just part of his day, a quiet observer from the distance. The veteran had never been a man to dwell on things, especially not on stray animals. But this dog was different. The mornings without the dog felt colder. The veteran began noticing things he hadn't before. The soft rustle of the wind through the trees, the birds that now seemed to be chirping louder, and the occasional creak of the cabin settling. All these sounds had always been there, but they felt hollow without the presence of the dog. The more he thought about it, the more puzzled he became. The dog had always been so consistent, so regular. Every day it came to that same spot, without fail. It never looked afraid, never acted out of place. It just seemed like it was part of the rhythm of the day, like a ritual of sorts, something that gave him a sense of continuity, a sense that life was still moving forward, even if it was just a stray dog looking at his cabin. The veteran began to walk around the cabin during his daily routines, scanning the woods with a new sense of awareness. Perhaps he was overthinking it, he told himself. After all, dogs come and go. They are stray animals, and they follow their instincts, not routines. But something inside him couldn't shake the feeling that the dog had been trying to tell him something. One evening, while walking down the worn path that led to the edge of his property, the veteran stopped. There, in the dirt, were signs of the dog's presence, paw prints. They were fresh, but not as many as usual. A shiver ran down his spine. Had the dog left for good? Was it okay? His curiosity was now a gnawing feeling in his chest. The veteran wasn't used to feeling this way. He had seen enough in his lifetime to know that asking too many questions could lead to heartache. But something about this dog, its regularity, its silent gaze, had planted a seed of concern in his heart. The days went by, but the dog didn't return. The veteran had begun to convince himself that maybe the dog had simply found a new place to be. Maybe it had tired of looking at his cabin. But deep down, he knew that wasn't it. He had seen that dog too many times to believe it was just a random wanderer. There was purpose in its actions, a routine, a reason behind every silent stare. On the 5th day after the dog's disappearance, the veteran made a decision. He would go into the woods, further than he had ever gone before. He wasn't sure why. Maybe he was looking for answers. Maybe he just needed to know if the dog was okay. Either way, He couldn't sit idle any longer. He packed a small bag, some water, a couple of snacks, and a flashlight. The forest was dense, and the veteran knew it could get dark quickly, so he was prepared. He set out at dawn, walking along the familiar paths that twisted through the trees. The air was crisp, the kind of morning that made you feel alive. As he ventured deeper into the woods, the silence became more pronounced. Every crack of a twig underfoot seemed louder, as if the forest was watching him. Hours passed, and just as he was about to turn back, something caught his eye. There, under a pile of leaves, he saw movement. His heart raced, and he hurried over. When he pulled the leaf aside, his breath caught in his throat. It was the dog. The dog wasn't moving, but it was alive. It was curled up in a tight ball, shivering slightly. It had been there for who knows how long, hidden from view. The veteran kneeled down beside it, unsure of what to do. His first instinct was to reach out, but he hesitated. The dog had always kept its distance. What if it was afraid? What if it didn't trust him? But the moment the veteran's hand brushed the dog's fur, the animal let out a soft whimper. It slowly lifted its head and looked up at him with those same soulful eyes. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. The bond between the two was undeniable. Without a word, the veteran gently scooped the dog up into his arms, cradling it against his chest. "I've got you now," he whispered, moored himself into the dog. The dog's breathing was shallow, but it seemed to relax as it settled into his embrace. The veteran knew that whatever kept the dog from appearing at the cabin, there was something deeper here, something that tied them together in a way he hadn't expected. He didn't know what that was yet, but he was determined to find out. The veteran carried the dog back to his cabin that day, his mind racing with questions. What had happened to it? Why had it disappeared? He couldn't understand why the dog had hidden itself in the woods for so long. It was clear that it had been through something difficult. The dog's fur was matted, and its body felt fragile, like it hadn't been eating properly. But despite its condition, there was a spark in its eyes, a resilience, a will to survive. The veteran carefully placed the dog on a soft blanket by the fire. He prepared some food for it, hoping it would eat. It was strange, he thought, how much this stray dog had come to mean to him. He had lived alone for so long that he had forgotten what it felt like to care for something, to nurture something. The dog, though silent, had reminded him of what it was like to have a connection to another living being. For the next few days, the veteran took care of the dog, feeding it, making sure it was comfortable. Slowly, it began to recover. Its energy returned, and it started to move around more. The bond between them grew stronger with each passing day. The veteran found himself talking to the dog, telling it stories of his own past, of his time in the army, of the people he had lost, of the memories that haunted him. And as he spoke, the dog would listen, its eyes always fixed on him, as if understanding every word. There was something about the dog that seemed to understand the veteran's pain, his loneliness. It wasn't just a stray animal. It was a companion, a silent witness to the years of solitude the veteran had endured. He began to wonder if the dog had come to him for a reason. Was it lost, or had it been waiting for him all along? One night, as the veteran sat by the fire with the dog curled up beside him, he realized something. He wasn't just caring for the dog. The dog was also caring for him. It was healing him, helping him open up, to let go of the past. The dog had become a part of his life in a way he hadn't anticipated. But now, he couldn't imagine his days without it. Weeks passed, and the veteran's life had changed in ways he couldn't explain. The cabin, once a place of isolation, had become a home. The dog was no longer just a stray. It was family. It followed the veteran everywhere, its tail wagging every time the veteran smiled. The bond between them had deepened, and with it, a sense of peace had settled over the veteran that he hadn't known in years. But just as the veteran had become used to the dog's presence, the strange feeling from the first day it had disappeared returned. He knew the dog wasn't just any animal. It had come to him for a reason, and as much as he loved the dog, he couldn't ignore the sense of duty he felt toward it. One morning, the veteran awoke to find the dog staring at him with those same soulful eyes. It was as if the dog was telling him something unspoken. And then, in that moment, the veteran realized the truth. The dog had never been lost. It had been waiting for him. It had come into his life at just the right time, when he needed it the most. The dog wasn't just a stray. It was his companion, his healer, his reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always a way forward. And as the veteran sat in the warmth of his cabin, with the dog by his side, he finally understood. Some bonds are not meant to be broken, and some paths are meant to cross for a reason. The dog had found its place, and so had the veteran.